Good evening, everybody. We have another show for you tonight. In the spirit of Casual Friday, I didn't wear a suit or a tie today. And let's begin. So, the war is continuing to rage on in Palestine. The Israel is going full genocidal, no surprise there. Benjamin Netanyahu is continuing to be a monster who deserves to be on trial for war crimes. Also, no surprise there. And the situation keeps getting worse and worse. So, Israel just demanded that 1.1 million, the 1.1 million Arabs who live in the northern half of the Gaza Strip have to leave to the southern half of the Gaza Strip. And if not, they'll just die. So this is by all means impossible. Almost all of the people there don't have cars. They have nowhere to stay once they get there. And this is just very clearly a disaster. But it's not like Israel is going to care about that. And I think the massacres of Israel right now show a more broader point, which is that Jews just don't care about Gentile people. Jews don't care about Gentile people. They view them as their name for us, Goyim, suggests. They view us as animals. They view us as human animals, as Benjamin Netanyahu put it. So they don't care about committing war crimes against us. It doesn't bother them to commit war crimes against us because we're not Jews. So who cares about us? So Israel is getting more and more support, even though they're committing more and more war crimes. And I think the level to which there is support, well, here's a good example of this. The European Union is threatening to ban Twitter because it's said that Twitter is spreading misinformation, or I guess X, as it's called now, is spreading misinformation about this war in Palestine. So it's very important that we support X in this fight, that we support Elon Musk in this fight, because this is a fight between good, or at least the lesser of two evils, Elon Musk and X, versus evil, the European Union, which is run by Zionist globalists. Also, something interesting, France banned protests that are in favor of Palestine. They just made it illegal to protest in favor of Palestine in France, all throughout the whole country. And imagine my shock when Dave Rubin expressed support for this ban, despite releasing lots and lots of videos about how we need to fight for freedom of speech. So I personally don't believe in freedom of speech. I don't believe the First Amendment should exist. I believe good ideas should be legal to say and bad ideas should be illegal to say. But what I don't appreciate is this hypocrisy. So these people, and this is true of a lot of conservatives, a lot of the not based, cucked mainstream conservatives. This is true of a lot of them. A lot of them don't they are hypocrites when it comes to freedom of speech. They won't shut up about freedom of speech or the Constitution or the founding fathers or this and that, but yet they're complete hypocrites when it comes to freedom of speech. And I think Dave Rubin is a great example of this. Uh, he's always talking about, for so many years, he was talking about, oh, when it was popular, oh, the feminazi SJWs are coming for the freedom of speech. We have to protect the freedom of speech, freedom. But he just endorsed publicly endorsed France's decision to ban, uh, criminalize pro Palestinian protests in France, in all of France. And I think the fact that not only is this happening, but it's being tolerated. I mean, so did Hamas commit crimes against Israeli people? Yes, they did. But could you imagine if any other backlash that was in self defense, since Israel is a piece of stolen land from Palestine, if any of this else um, happened anywhere else? If this, so for example, um, some people, not myself included, but there's certain groups that think America was stolen from the Native Americans, the Indians. Now, this is two very different scenarios because Israel was truly and undoubtedly stolen from the Palestinian people, from the Arabs. While America wasn't actually stolen from the Indians, the idea that our ancestors stole the Indians' land is just a myth. But for the purpose of this discussion, let's say that, yeah, they're right. Um, if a group of Indians killed a, a bunch of white people, do you think it would be tolerated if the US federal government said, we're going to start bombing all of the Native American reserve because the small group of Indians who killed some white people are in those Indian reserves? Every liberal and every conservative would denounce it right off the bat. Um, but no one's denouncing this Israel war thing. And going back to the discussion of the Indians, so again, not myself included, but a lot of people consider the historical event of the Trail of Tears to be a genocide, because what liberals always say is, oh, and this when I say liberals, I'm talking about people like Joe Biden who are currently supporting Israel in this war right now. And they say, oh, the Trail of Tears was a genocide because because Andrew Jackson made all of these Indians leave their land, and then a bunch of them died on their way from leaving the land. So therefore, this is genocide. Or the fact that the U.S. killed so many buffaloes. People will say, liberals in particular will say that this is genocide because the idea was that without buffaloes as a food source, the Indians would have to go onto reservations. Since they didn't have buffaloes to hunt, they would have to move to reservations to get government rations, because the only way they'd be able to survive is on government reservations. So they say, oh, these events are genocides. This is genocide. But so few people are calling what's happening in the Gaza Strip for what it actually is, an actual genocide. Unlike those two fake made up genocides, this one is real. This one is actually happening. And it's also a lot more reasonable of what happened in the first case. It's just wrong on so many levels. And these events, the fact that no one's denouncing Israel, everyone is supporting Israel. The two most powerful, famous politicians in America, rather, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, are both supporting Israel. France has banned pro-Palestinian protests all throughout their country. The EU is trying to ban Twitter to help fight for Israel. This has further solidified my pre-existing notion that Zionist globalists rule the world. They're the people who rule the world. And now we can see it very well and very clearly. There was this Sky News interview, and they're doing an interview with the ex-prime minister of Israel. And um, the interviewer, or I guess journalist, asked the ex-prime minister, oh, so we know, because the ex-prime minister was saying he supports the fact that they turned off the water and turned off the electricity and turned off the food and turned off the fuel and all of that. And he said that the interviewer was saying, oh, you support this, but what about all of the babies that are on the life support with the breathing and stuff? They just died. So when Benjamin Netanyahu made those ordered that to happen, wasn't in a way he sentencing a bunch of babies to their deaths. And then this ex-prime minister, this Yudin, started screaming, and he threw a big temper tantrum, and he wouldn't answer another question for the whole interview, and he just threw a whole temper tantrum for the rest of the interview. And this is because he doesn't want to acknowledge the truth that Gentile people are human. Unlike what Jews believe, Gentile people are human. And there's a very clear reason why people like Benjamin Netanyahu and this ex-prime minister and the Jews all over the world are okay with all these war crimes, because Jews don't believe Gentile people are human. They view them as animals because they call us goyim. That means animals. Right now, both sides, many Palestinians and basically all Israelis, all Jews, are calling for genocides against each other. But the sad part is that most likely there's one group that actually has the ability to commit genocide against the other group. Israel has all the money in the world. They have all the power in the world. They have America as their puppet. They have almost all the politicians in Washington as their puppets. They have nuclear weapons, unlike Palestine. They have a huge military. And the world is their oyster. The world is Israel's oyster. So I think this is undoubtedly going to be a horrible tragedy unless we're really, really lucky and Israel somehow suffers in a horrible way. That is all for this week's video. Thank you for watching. God bless you.